YT Jeffsy needs little introduction. A really popular, hard-hitting 140mm travel trail bike with a choice of 29 or 27.5 wheels, depending on how you like it. The pace of development in the mountain bike world is really rapid at the moment. In particular, geometry is a fast-moving area, with bikes generally getting longer, slacker and lower. So for 2019, the brand new Mark II Jeffsy takes all these changes into consideration. Still 140mm travel and still a choice of 27.5 or 29-inch wheels, but it's a 29-inch model here that has the most significant changes, and it's the bike we're going to focus on in this video. I'm out here in the Algarve in Portugal riding a brand new bike, so I'll run you through the key details of the new bike and give you my thoughts on the first ride impressions. To all intents and purposes, the YT Jeffsy looks very similar to the previous model. Got a very similar design language, same suspension layout, but they've updated the geometry in a massive way. This 29er size large has a 66° head angle, a 77° seat angle, a 1280mm wheelbase, and on a size large a 470mm reach. They've also lowered the top tube to increase the standover height, and you can also run a longer dropper post, making it easier to size up if you need to. As I mentioned, they've kept the same suspension layout, so it's a 4-bar configuration, but they have updated all the pivot hardware to increase the durability of the bearings in winter conditions. They've now moved to a metric shock as well, and they've increased the anti-squat in the suspension to give a bit more progressiveness and a bit more support when you're pedaling. And there's now space for a bigger 600ml water bottle in the frame, and you can fit a regular water bottle cage and bottle if you prefer that rather than the company's own design. This is a top of the range pro race model and it costs $5,700, and it's really well spec'd for the money. So you get a Fox DPX2 shock at the back there, and up front a Fox 36 with 150mm of travel. A lot of E13 kit on this bike with E13 tyres, wheels, wide range cassette and a crankset, and you've got a Shimano XCR rear mech with matching shifter. There's a Fox transfer dropper post with a nice SDG saddle. So really good looking bike for the money, really well spec'd. So that's a quick first look at the brand new YT Jeffsy Mark II in 29er version. I had a chat with Stefan, the engineer responsible for the new bike, and let's hear from him and his thoughts on this bike and bike design in general.
I'm Stefan Villaret, the CTO of YT Industries.
And we're here for the launch of the new Mark II Jeffsy 29er.
Yes.
What's the first starting point with the design of the bike?
The first starting point was to combine all the feedbacks we got over the last years and bring this together with the things we did, for example, with the Capra or also with the Tuis regarding kinematic, and bring this together and make this overall plan. And that was the starting point. So collecting all the infos from all the journalists worldwide and from all the direct feedback we got from the consumers, and also our own testings over the years with the bikes, and bring that together into the new design and the new functions. Yeah.
The new bike looks very similar on the surface to the previous bike, but there are a lot more changes under the skin.
I think it looks pretty similar to the Capra because we use the design language more or less we found our language. We use similar components from the design point of view. For sure you see new components on the Jeffsy compared to the Capra, but it's pretty similar to the design ways we are doing right now. So you see, when you have a look at the new Tuis, at the new Capra and the new Jeffsy, you see, yes, you find a lot of things which they have in common, but every section has its own slang, I would say. Okay. Explain it like that. Yeah. And yeah, and obviously to bring the technique inside, the suspension, and especially the points regarding the geometry. That's what we start with the Capra. We add the size, the 5th size to the Jeffsy, so we have from small to XX large, and we reduce the seat tube length the same way we did with the Capra, to allow people using the longer dropper posts, and we do not limit people by using a size depending on the leg length. So you could go for a medium or even for an extra large with your legs. So we don't want to limit the people what kind of reach or what kind of size reach from the reach point of view they want to ride. That's the same thing like in skiing. It depends where you are riding and what kind of riding style you have. And the C-tube length should not limit you to choose the length of the bike which is fitting to your style.
With all the changes to the new bike, have you kept it true to its original roots when it first launched, or have you moved it kind of further away?
Yes, we have it definitely, especially the 29er, because we also launched the 27 here, but this is not the huge riding topic in this press camp here, it's the 29er. And yes, we modified it compared to the MK1, we did a lot. So when you compare the reach, for example, the large was at the MK1 445 and now we have 470. It's 2.5 centimeters longer. And we also steepened up the C-tube angle up to 77 degrees. And the offset of the C-tube is also reduced. So we put a lot of efforts into the riding position, especially for taller guys. So the extra large and XX large it's really different feeling to the bike before, because we spend so much time into this riding, pedaling position of the bike. But still, it is a descending, shredding bike for sure.
Geometry is the biggest topic in mountain biking at the moment. It's a thing that's changing rapidly. How do you arrive at the figures you have arrived at with this new bike, and is it based on feedback or your own intuition where you think the market's going and the riding styles are going?
Yeah, it looks like that it's rapidly at the moment, but when we made the geometries for this bike, it's already 1.5–2 years ago. So in the background, we are working on that and we are collecting quick feedback. Yeah, so from the first press camp with the MK1, back in the days, we start collecting the feedback and try to modify it. And in the case of the Jeffsy 29er, my boys in the development team, they start to do some mock-up frames with the existing alloy tubes. And we tested several geometries, especially, like I said before, for the taller riders. And yeah, then we figured it out pretty fast, what is good and what is not good. And there we learned what we could do, which kind of limits we could reach without harming the overall feeling of the bike. For example, going to 77 degrees of the C-tube angle is like you could have the fear that you too much load your hands on the bike and you also lose top tube length. So for that we bring the XXL into the game, so we spreadened the options of the reach and also with the top tube length. And we also figured out it's nice the extra load on the handlebar because of the steeper C-tube angle allows us to make the head tube angle slacker. So that's what you figure out while with an alloy mock-up while riding, and you feel it pretty fast. And then you have 3–4 riders, but the kinematic suspension setup was already pretty good. So you do it in 1 or 2 months, you have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the key differences between the 29er and the 27.5 version, and how would you recommend somebody choose the right bike for them?
A recommendation regarding the wheel size, this is hard to say. It's like you have the basic points which you could say how a 27 versus a 29er feels. But if these statements will help you, it's hard to say, because for sure a 29er you have bigger tires, so that means you have more grip. The BB drop is lower, so you're more centered into the bike. So cornering, if you get used to it, you could become faster while cornering. Or if you don't like it, you stay at the 27. With the 27 you have the basic feeling that you're a little bit higher on the bike compared to the 29er. So, but this is a personal thing. Some people don't get the grip on the 29ers, and some others say, wow, that's the bike, I don't want to ride 27 anymore. But you also have it the other way around. So it's like like with the reach of the bike, the basic things about 27 to 29 is true. But if the bike is real balanced, you need to make up your mind by yourself and test it. What is the best thing for you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas the geometry changes, the suspension's been refined. It's still the same 4-bar configuration.
Yes.
But you've now got more anti-squat.
Yes, that's also a really big point on the 29 and also on the 27. We increased the anti-squat, so the pedal kickback, to 120%, and you directly feel it. You directly feel it. The bike climbs in combination with the steeper C-tube angle, and it climbs way better. So it's really interesting. Yeah, that's what we did. And we also steeped in the C-tube angle from the 27, but they are just at 1 degree to 76 degree. So we didn't make the same C-tube angle in 29 and the 27. And that's because, like I said before, with the 29er, because of the big BB drop, you have close to 3 centimeters BB drop, compared to a 27 where you're at 1.8 millimeter, close to 2 centimeters BB drop. The 1 centimeter difference is you feel it, and for that you could not make the C-tube angle that steep on the 27.5 bike. Yeah.
And I have changed on. I mean, looking at the frame now, we can see the head tube area is quite a bit different. You changed the carbon fibre design and to achieve more stiffness.
This is the stiffness of the front triangle. That was a topic for us, because the overall stiffness of a bike is always discussed, and nobody could tell you what is the best value. Too stiff, then you have issues on off-camber sections. If it's too flexible, then you have problems maybe in switchbacks, depending on your riding style. So the overall feedback we got from the Capra and also from the Jeffsy MK1 is that the overall stiffness feels good. Everybody was super happy. Also we, the test team, everybody's happy. The pro riders, the magazine, everybody said the bike feels right. In off-camber section you have grip, and you could turn the bike really good. So this is something we said, okay, never change our running system in this case. So the main goal was to keep the overall stiffness of the bike, but front triangle stiffness, head tube and BB stiffness. That's what you feel, and that's what we increased. At the BB area we add more material. The shape is looking slightly different to the MK1. So we increased the volume there to make it stiffer. And in parallel, not to make it more heavier, just increasing the volume makes these things more stiffer. And at the top tube, or the whole head tube area, we use our head box shape, and we increase the stiffness. So, and that's what you feel with the bike. So the front triangle feels stiffer, more direct, but the overall stiffness is the same like the MK1. Okay. So, yeah, and that's the story behind the stiffness.
Okay.
Yeah,
with the bottom bracket, you're using a press fit bottom bracket.
Yes.
You didn't decide to go with an external threaded bottom bracket, as some bike brands are starting to do now.
Yeah, we collect a lot of experience with it. There are good things, there are bad things, and we were checking all the issues we had and what was good, what was not good, and also considering the production process, and we decide to stay on the press fit.
Okay.
Because in the case of carbon production, we think it's the better way. Just we think it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were developing the Jeffsy, are you looking at other bike brands, what other bike brands are doing, or are you developing it in isolation with all your feedback, or is it?
We never live in isolation. That makes no sense. So we are bike fans, like our customers. So we are, for sure, we're looking at other brands. But what you see on the bike, and also what kind of geometry things we are doing to the bike, there's just a few brands which is going that fast into this direction. So for sure we look what the other brands are doing, obviously. But in the case of the 29er, it was all the feedback, like I explained before, we collect. And then we did our own mock-ups, alloy frames, and then we made it. Yeah. Based on our thoughts and our experience and the feedback we collect.
And you're still a direct sales model.
Yes.
Is that still working for you? And what are the main benefits? people aren't aware of this.
For sure, we are still, for sure, we will and stay on online direct, and the benefit is like we do online direct and we get feedback direct, and this is the best thing ever. We deal with our consumers. If somebody's happy, sometimes they will let us know. If somebody's unhappy, he will let us directly know. And all the consumers are in direct contact with us. So it's like when they call our customer service, the development department is just 10 meters away from that. So there's such a direct influence. It's not just direct selling; it's direct influence. Yeah. And we think that's the really positive way. So we are super fast. We know our bikes the best. Yeah. So there's nobody in between. So we think that's still a good solution, and it works really good. Yeah.
And Jeffsy Mark III, we started working on that yet? Or?
No, Jeffsy Mark III we will start end of next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Round about that we start with it. Now so already this testing here with the journalists for the launch is the starting point to get the first feedback.
You never stopped, do you?
No, you never stop.
Revision.
You never stop, because now we are collecting also some influences for enduro, or already today we're talking about some things we saw what could influence downhill or other categories. It's like we never stop. Okay. And especially in this kind of area where you have well experienced mountain bikers around you, which write articles about bikes, it's like a pool of feedback and of energy and different ideas, and that's the good thing on such camps.
Thanks to Stefan then for some insightful views on the new bike and bike design in general. Really interesting guy, really nice to spend some time with him here in the Algarve in Portugal, learning about what made YT the brand that they are. Now I've also got the chance to ride a bike. We've been riding a bike for 2 days on some spectacular trails around the Algarve. Not an area I've ridden before, but it's definitely an area I want to come back to, and I can recommend it if you are based in Europe and you want to ride some stunning trails in amazing scenery with amazing landscape, and the weather, I mean, it's December and it's 19 degrees and it's really, really nice. Over these 2 days of riding, I've managed to get a really good, decent feel for the bike. It's not enough time to get a really in-depth opinion on the bike. We'll follow up with a full in-depth review in pink bike style in a couple of months' time, so stay tuned for that. But I've really come away with 2 strong impressions of the bike. The first one is the updated geometry. For me, at 5'11", this side large hits a sweet spot really well. Just the right length, not too long, not too short, and it's got the right sort of balance. It's got really nice control and stability in really fast, high-speed trails, with enough nimbleness and agility in the tight stuff. It just works really well in a wide range of trail conditions. And the trails here in the Algarve can have everything from high-speed rocky descent to really tight switchback turn. So really the sort of trails that really push the geometry to the forefront in terms of handling. And this bike has worked really well. To me, as I said, it's that sweet spot of the geometry really. Neither too long, too short, too slack, and too steep. It works really, really well. I can't really fault it in geometry. And I should also add that the equipment works really well. Really impressed with the new E13 tyres. Loving the Renthal 800mm handlebar, and everything's really solid. The other thing I've been really impressed with is the suspension of the bike. It's got a really progressive feel, really ramps up nicely. It's not too linear, plenty of support when you're pedaling up hills or you're smashing through a rocky descent. It just works really well in a wide range of positions. And I've not had to reach for a climb, cheater switch or anything. It just works well all the time, and I like that. Just get on and ride, not have to worry about adjusting your suspension for whether you're climbing or descending or doing it in between trails. You just get on and ride, and it works really well. And there's plenty of pop as well. You can really play with the bike through the turns and over the jump. I've used full travel on the bike, as you can see, but I haven't bottomed it out. I've not noticed it bottoming out harshly either, really. But that mid-stroke support, that mid-stroke to high-end support is really, really good, where the bike really shines. And this new Fox suspension with a 36 and a DPX2 works really well. Also, really easy to set up as well, following the recommended 30% sag on the back and the Fox recommendations on the front. So that's been a new YT Jeffsy 29er. I'm really impressed with the bike, I really like it. I can't wait to get another ride on it and ride it on my home trails back in the UK. It's a bike that for me hits a sweet spot in terms of geometry, travel, and it's just a really fun trail bike that I think for a lot of people is more than enough bike, and it can handle itself in a lot of situations. So it's a really good all-round do everything in bike on. So let us know what you think in the comment section below. Are you loving it or are you hating it? Let's hear what you think.